Albert Gaulden is with us. He is an author, and he's also with the Sedona Intensive. The book is You're Not Who You Think You Are, a new one just about to come out. Does anybody out there love me? I've asked that question a lot of times, Albert.
Well, it's kind of interesting how people sometimes wonder if the world is plotting against them or whatever. So, you know,
Kim Kardashian doesn't have that thought.
But you were talking to James Redfield, and he was talking about, you know, follow the voice, follow the whatever. Well, you know, a lot of people don't have that opening to other people, and so I'm writing this book for maybe the Lonely Hearts group or the people that are not so in the public arena.
Buddies, huh?
Very, very close friends.
It is interesting though, because I think we all wonder, does somebody actually love me? Even many times in a marriage you wonder, does
Kay doesn't, I know, well, she's told me.
I'm just thinking, it is a tough
but
question.
Sometimes, you know, you have to step out of line. You know, I was talking to a lady before I came on, and you know, it's a matter of how internalized you are. You know, have you sought what I call your soul urge? You know, so many people are listening to the noise. Go here, do that, buy that. You know, I'm going to probably say today, are you still paying off those credit cards? You know, because you know, the economy, I upgraded the chart of the United States, progressed it to this hour, you know, and things are getting better. I said that in December, and I think you're seeing those barometers.
Albert, that brings up an interesting question. If we were free of the bondage of credit cards, do you believe that we would become more spiritual and in touch with the real things of life?
Well, I don't know, but you know, I keep the Bible open on my table, and you know, I told you I'm a fallen away Christian, but I read the other day, you know, for the love of money is the root of all evil, and Scott said, I think they were writing for you, because, you know, I think I'm a recovering materialist, you know.
We've heard, you know, our grandparents, our parents told us that all growing up. That was said many generations back.
Yeah, but you know, it's the thing about the simplicity. You know, I notice in my own case, you know, I share this all the time on the air, that I've paid off all my credit cards. You know, I owe for my house, but not my car. And I'm living on a lot less than I used to. And you know, there's something more joyful that the center of my life today is my little 2-year-old dog.
I think
it
does release you. I think it does release the person.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's just those dates with Kim, though. You put those on your credit cards, don't you?
Do you date Kim? Is this
Albert, Egypt.
Well, the thing that I'm going to tell you is that if people will email us, I'm going to send them a journal that our last Egyptologist, I was there in Upper and Lower Egypt in February of 2009, and Ahmed Ali did his own journal, and I've sent that out to a few people, and they found it far more engaging and maybe more truthful than what we read on the internet or saw on the television.
What does the chart say about Egypt?
Well, what it says is that Egypt is going to be somewhat the forerunner of the end of a lot of the tyranny. You know, I love Egypt, and I love the artifacts, I love the digs, I love to hear the still small voice that maybe started when I lived in Egypt way back when. But I do think that pharaohs and kings, and even in this United States, presidents, people grow up to be bullies, and you know, they put people in tyranny. And you know, Ahmed Ali wrote in this great journal that Egypt is now out of bondage for the first time in 7,000 years. And so I think that Yemen is now stirring itself up. I mean, I think for Iran to say, let's go out and kill the protesters, aren't we glad that we don't do that in this country? I think that you're going to see the great wave move through the Mideast. And, you know,
How is that, Albert, how is that going to affect Israel?
I think that Israel has always struggled. You know, I'm really a non-native Jew, but I'm much more Jewish than I am Christian. And so the Jews have endured just like the Egyptians have. You know, the Israelis left Egypt to be free, and they finally, in 1948, had their own house. But I feel like that they're going to always survive. You know, I'm one who studied the Kabbalah because I loved what the rabbi said to me. It had a much different impression on me than preachers, ministers.
Can you share that with us?
Well, I mean, I studied with Rabbi Grunman in California, and when I read that I can scan the Zohar, the ancient writings, from right to left, and that my internal all-knowing self is relating and remembering when I was reading that text thousands of years ago. I mean, when I read Get Out of the Blame Game, when I get out receive to share, I've never had anything affect me quite like that did. Why should I be so concerned about it's all about me? That's why the country is in rack and ruin. You know, people said, shut the door, you know, go to Texas. Oil people are unbelievably crazy. Why did oil go from 150 down to what it did, 55 or 60? Well, it's climbing back up. So maybe the Texans will be happy. I want other people not to drink dirty water like they do at Darfur. And I want people not to not have houses to live in like in Chile. And in this country, a lot of people go hungry every day.
Right, and you know, I think very few, well, I shouldn't say very few, I think we're seeing more people, more and more people coming to the realization of the greater good. Not many people up till now thought in the greater good. I'm the universe, everything revolves around me.
But I'm sitting here with the chart of the United States and we have an Aquarian moon. And
that's,
you know,
the greater good.
Yeah, but that is true, but we also are Cancerian. And you know, beside trying to look nurturing, remember all the money we give away to other countries? We sometimes can be very controlling. You know, everybody knows that we went into Iraq because of oil interests.
I'll give you the money, but...
But I'll tell you. Let me tell you what it means when you have the moon in like Aquarius and the sun in Cancer. It's called an inconjunction. It's like don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. And so thank God we had an Aquarian moon because we are very caring, we are very sharing after we have something like 9/11 or when we had other people at war and we went over and we aided and abetted and whatever. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of the chickens are coming home to roost in this country.
How will Egypt affect the United States? I mean, how the interaction? What will we feel from the upheaval and the uprising in Egypt?
Well, you're going to have those. Remember, I said 30 million people, 10%. There are people right now plotting in their minds to try to influence our government to go over maybe and run Egypt. Stay out. I'm not afraid of what democracy does. I'm afraid of what people who are tyrannical, whether they're presidents or pharaohs, you know, in the ancient days of Egypt. So my thing is, you know, let the process work or not work. You know, we didn't have anybody with a blueprint for the United States when the Mayflower hit and when the Pilgrims came. So my thing is, stay away and stay out. And
let them have their own destiny. On another serious issue, Albert, if we may, Tanya made a very good point yesterday. Astrology plays a great, we can tell a lot from astrology with people who, like the tragedy in Tucson. If we would have read this individual's charts, could we have been able to see?
Yeah, you could, but let me say this. I'm one of the few people that'll say the older I get, the less that I know. There are a lot of big people that want you to know that they're prodigies at 18. I can tell you right now, I don't know that I would have seen that, but what I can tell you is that astrology is one of the greatest roadmaps that you can ever look at. And I'm not so interested in the accuracy of something. I'm interested in what James Redfield evidently talked to you about. The consciousness. You know, I say, and I wrote a blog today about Egypt and about the Mideast, and I called it Global Consciousness. And here you had on a man, I didn't even know he was going to be on today, who's talking about this. We've got to change the way we're girdled and corseted from our religions of our childhood, you know, the old-timers or the whippersnappers that went to Wall Street, and in the last few years it came tumbling down, but it didn't start then, believe me.
You know, at one time I would have used the word greed, and I think that still is, if you have to really, I like to simplify things, if you have to bring it down to a word, greed was my word for a number of years. I'm leaning toward delusional now. We have a world full of people who are delusional.
Well, you know, what's interesting is that our progressed moon is pretty close to a conjunction of our Neptune.
That's delusional.
Yeah, and so I really feel like that you can use that word. What I'm going to tell you is that if many more things come tumbling down, you're going to see people get more sweetly reasonable to change.
But
Nicely put.
so the signs are there. When you're looking at the charts, you can actually see these things coming to fruition.
If I were a farmer, I would have brought the almanac, but I'm into astrology and I'm intuitive. So I can tell you that the progressed sun of the United States is moved into a great 2 signs over from Pluto and Capricorn. Mm-hmm. We also have Jupiter, you know, that's making a great aspect to something in our chart. So we said that I would mention the economy. It will continue to get better. Are we going to be able to run out and get 20 credit cards? No. Let me kind of tell you something. I don't feel as sorry for people who crashed and burned as a lot of people do, because poor people know how to abuse the credit system like richer people do. You know, when you've got 200 million.
Two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, but when you've got 200 million and you fall down to 100 million, you're still out of reach with most
Albert,
of us.
Many economists say that inflation is going to hit very soon. Do you have any opinions on that?
I don't think that it's going to hit this year, and I don't think that we're going to have a lid on anything for a couple of years. But I feel like that people need to learn from their mistakes. You know, I wish Scott, my business partner, would come on here with me, because he said to me when Pluto went to Capricorn in January of 2008, pay off your credit cards. You've been telling people, here it comes, you know, payday someday is upon us. So that's what I did. So that's why I love to say to people, I paid off everything.
And Albert, how do you really feel about Kim Kardashian?
Oh, listen, keep it up.
Albert, always great to see you.
Good to see you.
Excellent, thank you.